From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
Tonight, new developments in the investigation happening right now in Nashville, where a Christmas morning explosion injured 3 people. Thanks for joining us here at 11 o'clock. I'm Nicole Griffin. The FBI is now searching several properties in the area near downtown Nashville. Here's ABC's Andrew Dimbert with the details.
Authorities reviewing surveillance video of a powerful explosion in downtown Nashville on Christmas morning.
Stay back till we figure out what's going on.
The FBI is now in charge of the investigation and is still working to identify the human remains found at the scene.
Our investigative team is turning over every stone to make sure we know as many details as possible to answer the question of who is responsible for this, and also to understand why did they do this.
Investigators say just after 1 a.m., this RV was seen parked outside the AT&T building. Hours later, police responded to a call of shots fired. When they approached the RV, they could hear a recording coming from the vehicle, warning people nearby to evacuate.
You can hear this message. Evacuate now.
At 6:30 a.m., the RV exploded into a fireball, debris and smoke shooting hundreds of feet into the air. The debris field stretching for several blocks, windows shattered, buildings damaged. The police chief asking business owners and residents to be patient.
There's about 40 buildings that's been impacted, and so those buildings will have to be cleared through our codes.
It's still unclear whether AT&T was the intended target, but according to a federal bulletin obtained by ABC News, police around the country have been asked to increase patrols around AT&T facilities as a precaution. Sources tell ABC News authorities are searching properties associated with Anthony Quinn Warner, including this duplex. Neighbors say an RV similar to the one that exploded was often parked in a fenced-in yard.
The RV's been there for a while. It doesn't really move. It just stays there. So this was something that just looked suspicious, that it wasn't there anymore.
First responders and 6 police officers being hailed as heroes after rushing in to evacuate the area. Remarkably, only 3 people suffered minor injuries. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, Washington, D.C.
Andrew, thank you. And detectives are looking for a suspect possibly in the Indianapolis or Terre, Haute area after a woman was found dead Christmas Day inside a storage unit in Terre, Haute. The victim is 38-year-old Sarah Henderson of Terre, Haute. An arrest warrant for murder has been issued for Phillip Adderson of Terre, Haute. Detectives say he may be driving a silver Chevrolet Cobalt with damage to parts of the car. They believe he may be armed and he is considered dangerous. If you have any leads, any information upon his whereabouts, you are asked to call the Vigo County Sheriff's Department. Now to our continuing coverage of the coronavirus and its impact on Indiana. The state health department reports another 3,896 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with the virus. 30 more Hoosiers have died, bringing the total number of deaths to 7,461. Since March, more than 492,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 5.5 million tests have been administered in Indiana. Millions of Americans who are out of work will lose their supplemental unemployment benefits after today. President Trump has not signed the COVID relief bill that Congress passed. The president says he wants Congress to increase the amount of stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000. Here's ABC's Rachel Scott with the details.
The roughly $900 billion stimulus package Congress approved earlier this week is awaiting President Trump's signature. President-elect Joe Biden criticizing his continued refusal to sign the bill, writing, "This abdication of responsibility has devastating consequences." The president has been critical of the bill, which includes aid for struggling Americans and $1.4 trillion in government funding.
It really is a disgrace.
The president tweeting he has had many calls and meetings demanding Congress increase the amount of the stimulus checks from $600 to $2,000, writing, "Give our people the money." But his own team helped negotiate that bill. Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin made this promise earlier this week.
People are going to see this money at the beginning of next week.
Both Democrats and Republicans urging the president to sign the bill.
When we finally thought that we'd be able to give people hope, that's what people need, hope.
I hope the president looks at this again and reaches that conclusion that the best thing to do is to sign the bill.
Supplemental unemployment benefits expire today, and if the president continues to hold off, the government shuts down Monday. The federal moratorium on evictions will end in less than a week.
We are facing the very real possibility of tens of millions of people losing their homes this winter during the height of COVID-19.
So now the bill is in the president's hands. He could sign it and get relief to the American people, or he could veto it. That would force lawmakers back to Washington to try and override the president. But if he does nothing and just hangs on to the bill for the next several days, it will expire, and then it'll be up to the next Congress to try and do this all over again and get relief to the American people. Rachel Scott, ABC News, Washington.
Rachel, thank you. Now to your forecast on this Saturday night. Meteorologist Kyle Mounts joining me now. And Kyle, after that very cold Christmas day, today feels just a slight bit warmer outside.
Yeah, and especially with that sunshine that we enjoyed today, Nicole, it was really a pretty nice Saturday. We made it to 36 degrees. There you can see that is the average here for the latter part of December. You made it to 38 in Bloomington and almost 40 today in the Lafayette area. Right now, Lafayette, though, you've dropped down to 28. Same in Indianapolis, and all the way down to 23 degrees with those clear skies and calm winds in the Bloomington area. As we look at the satellite and radar, you can see things are remaining very quiet. Just a few clouds that are starting to stream in here, and we will eventually see some precipitation chances, but that's still well off to the west. As you head out in the area tomorrow morning, we'll have temperatures in the middle 20s for us with partly cloudy skies. Those clouds will continue to increase pretty quickly here, and by mid-morning, we're at 35 degrees. But also rising will be those rain chances as we get into tomorrow evening, about a 60% chance of rain by 8 o'clock. We'll talk about the next shot of some chilly air behind that wet weather in just a bit.
All right, Kyle, thank you. Well, the day after Christmas is known as one of the busiest days of the year for returns. This year, though, with restrictions in place, our Troy Washington found that many shoppers did not rush right to the stores today to shop or make returns.
Aside from trying to get those door-busting deals the day after Christmas, shoppers say they've got a few reasons to make the trip out to stores.
Got a gift for my daughter, and it didn't work. So it was a baby doll, and we were kind of sad because she, of course, wanted to play with it yesterday, so I'm returning that.
In search of the cure for the Christmas blues, Jen Killebrew found herself out and about.
It's a different atmosphere and all of that. I will say I'm surprised there's not more people out. We commented on that earlier. We went to Best Buy earlier, and the return line was super short. So we're kind of surprised about that, and I don't know if that's the way that Christmas is falling or because of everything going on, but we were really surprised about that.
She says the restrictions don't really bother her.
I mean, I feel like it's been going on since March, so it's kind of second nature now to throw on a mask and get out, just to get out of the car, but definitely different.
Other shoppers told us they usually wouldn't come out right after Christmas, but since there wasn't much of a wait at places, they took the chance.
I don't never come out after Christmas, really, so we just in luck, I guess.
And it's not just gift returns that are bringing people out today. It's the chance to spend some of that Christmas cash.
Every year they get gift cards from family members that are out of town, and that's what they want to do.
It's become sort of a tradition for this family to come out right after the big day to spend some quality time and put their presents to use. Though this year is different, they won't let it stop the trend.
You still have to worry about the mask. You still have to worry about the social distancing, all the above.
Working for you, Troy Washington, WRTV.
All right, Troy, thank you. Well, if you still need to return items, some stores are offering free shipping for returns, so you don't have to go into the store. Also, make sure to research the return deadlines and policies before going to the store. And some retailers are only offering 14 days from the date of purchase. So if it was purchased this week, it does need to be returned before New Year's Day. Well, the colder weather we are seeing here in central Indiana is impacting some local businesses that have relied on outdoor seating space throughout the pandemic. In McCordsville, the team at family-owned Daniel's Vineyard is continuing to come up with unique ways to get their wine and food in the hands of their customers. They have created a quarantine kit that includes wine, chocolate, and of course toilet paper, delivered by the newly created character Grape Kelly. The director of operations at the Vineyard says their summer months were successful as people took advantage of the nice weather and the space they have outside. But now with the increase in COVID cases and colder temperatures, they aren't seeing as many people coming into the tasting room or the indoor dining spaces. So to help make up for the loss in sales, for the first time, they have opened a pop-up shop at the Keystone Fashion Mall.
It's bring us like a lot of exposure because a lot of people coming in, they're like, we've never heard of Daniel's before, or we have, but we've never been there. And so it's kind of a cool way to get our name out there as well.
I mean, we have a full kitchen. So the opportunity again presented itself to, hey, how can we still, even though, the cold weather is here and the second surge is hit, how can we still continue to approach the community? So we created Daniel's at Your Doorstep. And with that, our chef and his team create pizzas, salads, sandwiches, breadsticks, you name it. And you can actually go online and order those items, and we can again bring them to your front door.
Well, the final days for the pop-up shop are tomorrow, this coming Wednesday and Thursday. And if you want to support the vineyard, the quarantine kits and Daniel's at Your Doorstep delivery is available for Marion, Hamilton, and Hancock counties. There are many different ways that small businesses can pivot during the pandemic to still provide their services to the community. We spoke with the CEO of Black Girl Group, a freelance staffing agency that connects African-American freelancers to companies looking for more diverse talent. During the pandemic, CEO Stephanie Cottle has put her focus on helping small businesses get creative in order to survive.
Let's say if you're a local restaurant, that may mean that now whenever, if you're only having takeout available within your restaurant, maybe now you're providing, games for families that they can play inside of whatever pickup order they may have, because you want to make sure that you're creating the same experience once they pick up their food that they would get if they were actually inside of your restaurant. Another example of ways that we've helped out small businesses is encouraging local barbershops and hairstylists to, hey, many people are fearful of coming to the barbershop. They're fearful of going to the hair salon, but of course we all need our hair done, right? So maybe one thing that they could do is actually consider teaching e-courses online and teaching people how to give themselves their haircut, teaching women how to color their hair, teaching women how to properly curl their hair.
Well, Cottle tells us it is important to think outside of the box, especially right now. She is available to help local businesses, primarily those owned by African-American women or those in underserved communities, to help them find ways to stay open. You can connect with her at blackgirlgroup.com. Still ahead, he was a young man with big dreams, but sadly, those dreams and his life were cut short. Up next, the effort to make his legacy reap benefits for kids from all backgrounds.
This one's payment and 0 to assigning.
From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 11, streaming now.
A deadly shooting in a northern Illinois bowling alley this evening. Rockford police responded to an active shooter situation. They believe the shooter opened fire in what is being characterized as a random attack. The shooter was still active when police arrived on scene that left 3 people dead and 3 others seeking treatment at a local hospital.
We're doing the best we can. We'll try and get you as much information as we can when we get it. I do know that there are teenagers, 2 teenagers that have been shot, but I don't know the ages.
A person of interest is in police custody and the only individual believed to be involved. An effort is underway to remember IU student Ethan Williams. He was hit and killed by a stray bullet while visiting New York City in October. 2 months later, his father tells WRTV's Cornelius Hocker how friends and family are working to honor Ethan's life and legacy.
After Ethan Williams' tragic death in October, his family began to learn how much of an impact their son had on those around him. His father, Jason Williams, tells me it started at the memorial service.
From Bloomington, from IU, from Chicago, from everywhere. Like, he knew kids everywhere. And the stories were very similar. Hey, Mr. Williams, you don't know me, but one time Ethan said this to me, or one time Ethan did this for me.
Jason even learned Ethan had convinced a young woman to not take her life.
She said, because he called me, I'm standing here telling you this story. And she said, I'm very sorry you lost your son, but I'm here now because of him.
While Ethan will have a lasting impact among those he met, his friends want a more physical way to honor him. And because Ethan loves skateboarding, they had an idea.
After he died, a group of skaters from the community came to me. This was not my idea. They came to me and they said, there's a skate park that's supposed to be built here in the city. We want it named after Ethan.
That's all the motivation Ethan's dad needed to get to work. This video you're seeing now is part of the push to help raise the money needed to name the new skate park at Willard Park in Ethan's honor. The money going toward actually building it. Along with his father, his friends are in the video talking about the person Ethan was. Tony Hawk, the legendary skateboarder, even took part in this video, mentioning specifically something close to Ethan's heart: equity and equal access for all kids. That's the main reason Ethan was on the Mayor's Youth Council of Indianapolis.
He wanted the city to have access for all kids from all neighborhoods to safe places that were well lit, where they could play and skate and do the things that he was allowed to do growing up.
A young life cut short with so much more to give will live on in spirit and in this physical space. His father is leading the charge to make sure it happens.
If we can, at the bottom of all of this, just scrape up a little bit of good and somehow push it forward into the world, because that's what he would have wanted, we're going to fight for that, and we want to do that.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
It's a cold one, but a beautiful night across the Circle City. Checking out the view of Lucas Oil Stadium. Got the Eagles nest there, and still Victory Field lit up there around the baseline for the holidays. We got a temperature of 28 degrees right now on the thermometer. Does feel like 22. The winds are fairly light, though. They're under 10 miles per hour. I do think they're going to be a little more breezy as we get into the day tomorrow. Right now, your temperature down to 23 in Bloomington, 25 in Columbus, and still holding on to 30 in the Muncie area. As we look off to the south and west, though, there's the nose of some warmer air. Temperatures are sitting in the 40s across southwestern portions of Missouri tonight, and we are going to get in on some of that warmth. Tonight, not quite as cold, but yeah, there's still a chill out there for sure. 24 will be that overnight low as we continue to see a few more clouds building into the area. And by tomorrow morning, we will have quite a few clouds. This is a look at tomorrow afternoon. Fairly gray skies for us. As we get into the evening hours, we start to see a few of these rain showers developing. I think they'll be very light, very scattered in nature, and not going to produce a whole lot of rainfall as they move quickly to the east. In fact, as we get into the early overnight, those are already into Ohio. May see about 1/10 of an inch of rain out of that system. That's about it. But you see the clouds quickly fill right back in here with another shot of some chilly air. As far as temperatures on Sunday, though, they will be a little bit warmer. Our weekend warm-up continues here, 39 at 11 a.m. Mostly cloudy skies. We'll get to 47 there as we head through the afternoon. A couple of areas may even get into the lower 50s. So how about that? We had 15 for a high on Friday, and Bloomington kind of flipped those numbers around there. You could get to 51 tomorrow afternoon. Very similar story for you in Columbus, and 48 in Lafayette. Those winds, though, will take a little bit of the chill into the air. So away from that nearly 50-degree high, it feels a bit cooler than that, as we'll have wind gusts between about 20 and 30 miles per hour, a little bit stronger as we go into tomorrow evening. And we'll call it relatively chilly air that will be in place early in the week behind that system, but then we'll get another rebound in those numbers. So highs around the freezing mark here on Monday, middle 30s Tuesday, and once again, closing in on 50 as we head toward the middle of the week, but it will be brief. 7-day planning forecast is a busy one here. We'll go from 49 Sunday, lower 30s for a high on Monday, and then we've got more rain coming our way throughout the day on Wednesday into Thursday, with temperatures in the 40s there. And then as the colder air comes in for New Year's Day, may see a few snow showers, possibly some light accumulation there as we go into 2021. You're watching the news at 11. We'll be right back here on WRTV.
As of tonight, 1 in 1,000 Americans have died from COVID-19. That is based on data from the U.S. Census Bureau and Johns Hopkins University. The first reported case of COVID-19 was in January of 2020, and the first death was the following month. Now the U.S. has more than 18 million cases and more than 330,000 deaths. Hospitals and governments are bracing for yet another surge in the new year following the holidays. The race to vaccinate Americans against COVID-19 is underway, with nearly 2 million coronavirus vaccine doses already administered. That is according to the CDC. As of tonight, over 9.5 million vaccine doses have been distributed, with nearly 2 million administered. The totals include both Pfizer and Moderna vaccines. Officials say the number of people who have received their first vaccine dose is likely higher, as doses distributed appear to be outpacing doses administered. It's attributed to lags in data reporting, as many hospitals are still setting up their vaccine process and staggering vaccination among staff. College enrollment is suffering during this pandemic, and many students are struggling to cover their costs. Cesar Rodriguez shows us how hundreds of students across the country are getting an early Christmas gift.
Edwin Medina embodies what the Christmas spirit is all about.
I feel very, I would say, happy, excited.
He just received $500, but this college student is not buying Christmas gifts for family or saving for a spring break trip. He's helping his mom.
She doesn't have to decide whether she's going to put food or put a roof over our heads for the month of December. We get to enjoy the holidays.
Medina's mom was infected with COVID-19 in April and was out of a job for about a month.
All the debt just piled on really quick. $1,400 of rent became $3,000 of debt.
Now she works several jobs to provide for her family. Although this undergrad student also works to help mom, it's not enough. The bills keep piling up.
It's actually been really hard for her. It's just her taking multiple buses or trying to find a ride to get to work. It's very stressful on her.
Edwin was one of hundreds of students who received an emergency grant from the ASE organization. The funds were raised from private donors and members to help struggling students.
College is getting increasingly expensive, and with all of the challenges that happened within this past year, especially for our Black and Brown communities, the gap has widened.
Edwin received the aid just days before the release of a report from the National Student Clearinghouse Research Center, which showed college enrollment fell more than 2% overall for fall of 2020. That's almost twice the decline from the previous fall.
I'm happy that someone's able to hear my story and know the struggles that I'm facing.
As for Edwin, he's grateful ASE allowed him to bring some joy to his mother this Christmas.
She feels taken from me, is taking away from what I'm working at, but I'm like, no, this is what I'm doing this for you.
I'm Cesar Rodriguez reporting.
Hundreds of thousands of people passed through airports across the country on Christmas Day, but the numbers are still down by comparison. The Transportation Security Administration screened over 600,000 people at security checkpoints. That's just 23% of those screened on the same day a year ago, and it's half of the pandemic air travel record set on Wednesday. This is a lull before numbers are expected to tick up again this weekend. Travel experts say Sunday, tomorrow, will be another big day for air travel. We'll be right back here on the news at 11 after this break.
Kroger, fresh for everyone.
You still have plenty of time to recycle your Christmas tree in Marion County. There are designated recycling spots at 8 Indianapolis parks open from dawn to dusk. Trees should be left at the specially designated areas you'll find at the drop-off locations. They need to be free of ornaments, lights, and tinsel, and they have to be real. You can recycle your tree through January 31st in Marion County. We put the full list of drop-off sites in this story on the WRTV app and at WRTV.com. While Christmas is over, Kwanzaa is just getting started. Today kicks off the week-long holiday. It is a celebration of African American culture, focusing on family and community. Each day of Kwanzaa is dedicated to 7 principles: unity, self-determination, collective responsibility, cooperative economics, purpose, creativity, and faith. Kwanzaa was created in 1966 by a Pan-African Studies professor at California State University. Kyle.
Warmer for a day on our Sunday. Temperatures in the upper 40s with clouds, and then by tomorrow evening and tomorrow night, a few light rain showers ushering in some chilly air to start off the week, and then temperatures come up again, and then we get some more rain with that by the middle and end of next week, and we bring in 2021.
All right, looking forward to it. Thank you, Kyle, and thank you so much for joining us. Have a great night.